Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I'm Banish Privateer and today I'll be presenting you, describing and explaining, reviewing also patch 27 for Naval action. This is the new user interface, as you can see, revision 44.800 to be more precise, and the first thing you notice when you log into the game is the new interface, of course, but the server names have changed. War Caribbean and Peace PvE, the graphics for both of these have been probably confused because this one is looking actually more peaceful and this one is looking more intense. That will be probably corrected later in the future, or maybe not, I don't know. But what's the thing with changing the name of the servers all the time? We already had this, we had a server called PvP and PvE, then they changed the name server of PvP to the Caribbean, and what's the deal with that? It looks like they're trying to, point out to the people that actually the PvE server is a perfect place for PvE trading and people that don't like getting ganked, killed, and so on. Because on the PvP server, we have a bunch of people that actually are complaining all the time. Oh no, they ganked me. Oh no, how dare you attack a trader? It's not a fair fight. It's not a challenge, and so on, and so on. And there's like lots of negative reviews and people complain in the forums about that stuff. So they're trying to change the name of the server to the War Caribbean. Be aware of that. I don't think that's gonna change anything really. Changing the name of the server is not gonna solve any problems. Let's face it. We've got a new fancy button when you log in. It's the important announcements. Cool. This will be a perfect place to put patch notes and stuff like that. We have the news about the patch. No, just a brief description. I would say the patch was pretty big. It contained lots of changes, but the description here and news is not really well described. It's not really. You can't find all of the changes here, but let's read it. Captains, new economy rebalance is in progress. If you want to read, if you just return to the game, here is some important information about your currencies. Old gold is now reals and was converted at a rate of 25 gold to 1 real. Common marks were converted to reals at 20 reals for 1 common mark. PvP marks were converted, okay, some typos, never mind, to doubloons at rate 1:1, and that's the biggest ripoff ever. Players have been scammed. I mean, I don't mind wipes, converting stuff, patch notes, early access and so on, but I've asked developers 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, whatever, about the conversion rate. I said, it's gonna suck probably, guys, and the people are selling PvP marks in panic. They're selling them, using them, burning them, doing everything to get rid of them before the patch. So yeah, I was worried about that, and Nami said, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna make a good convert ratio, and it's gonna be very important after the patch, so it will have much greater value. And it turns out that was a lie from the very start. Converted ratio 1:1. So right now, for example, a Bellona costs 9,500 doubloons. If I had 6,000 PvP marks, I can't afford 1 Bellona, but before the patch I could afford 200 Bellona notes. Just a little off topic about that, we'll get back to this later. Materials were converted at rates indicated in previous announcements, okay. All buildings were destroyed, but the cost of replacement compensated. Reals to wallet, doubloons to redeemables. For more information visit the forums, okay. So let's get on the server and take a closer look at all of the changes. Fancy user interface, it's looking pretty nice, I have to admit that. Okay, mind my frames per second. I've actually turned everything to ultra maximum settings, just so you can have a better look at the port interface. That's actually not OpenSea, it's a port interface. It kind of looks like you're at sea. compared to what we had before. And the ship you're looking at, that's right, that's the fancy Christian VII, the first Danish ship introduced into the game, and it's looking really awesome, I have to admit that. But this video is not about the ship, I'll just let you guys take a quick look at it. So let me just lower a bit of the settings, but lots of things have changed. When you go to the settings, you have lots of new controls for the common, for the instance, for open world, for port. So you can bind your buttons, like for example mouse buttons. You can assign them to stuff like port warehouse, port shop, and so on. It's pretty great, and this one of the changes is the one that I like. Let me just quickly change some of the graphics. I don't want shadows really. Anisotropic, I'll turn off. Water medium, lights off. Textures, never did it. Okay. Terrain, I don't need that. And that off. Okay, I should be okay. Yeah, it looks worse like that, but lots of people are actually complaining about the port view because this port graphic, I mean this sort of village, is looking really ugly. It's not well scaled compared to the ship size and the distance. It's looking kinda weird and odd. Lots of people have talked about it on the forums, complained and so on. I have to agree with that. And the only thing looking cool here is water and trees on the other side of island. I mean the Haiti, and the dogs itself look pretty nice. The textures are okay, and they seem to be different for every port. So there's like a group of sets, the dock sets, you know, like maybe 15 of them or 10 templates, I don't know, but that's pretty nice. It's not like the same in every port, but the port itself, the village buildings don't really look enough for the 2018 game. Okay, other than that, we get pretty much, you know, port information here. There's in the national ports you get the stuff that it produces, resources and so on. It's just a free ton, so it gives you only basic information. Yeah, the settings button, of course, you can open it just by pressing escape, but the button works as well. Here's the equipment of the ship, the crew management as always, and the hold. They've changed back to actually grid, because on the test server we had a list and it wasn't really practical. I mean practical. It was looking nice, pretty nice, but it wasn't well optimized for the screens, especially for the screens with low resolution. Like I had this sort of window and I probably could see like only 4 items on the list. So there was lots of scrolling, which wasn't really nice. And yeah, these windows can move around, you can adjust their size, which is cool. Let me just adjust the size to let it be like this is the preferable size for me. And when you move these windows close to the edge, you get the blue edge. It gets blue, it's gonna get dragged instantly to the edge. So actually I had it a bit wider like that, and I guess I'll keep it like that. Okay, so this is basically the warehouse. I have a fully expanded warehouse. You can see 80 slots and it looks nice. It's the maximum size window, I don't need to scroll anything. The only downside is that there's lots of same icons. You can see whale, you can see gazelle bow figure, for Thor and lion and phoenix and so on, and all of them have the same icons. So I really hope the devs are gonna introduce more icons or more ways to determine actually the differences between these same class modules or items or trading goods or whatever. Actually trading goods, if we go to the shop, we go to resources, we go to, you can see trading goods. They actually have flags, like Corsican Mint has the French flag, Catalonian olive oil has the Spanish flag, and so on, so on. So there's actually a way to see the difference, at least between the certain groups of the trading goods. Would be nice actually here, like let's say there's the, no, that's both of them. Okay, French rig, there's the Spanish rig, there's the British rig, and the pirate rig. So we could actually have a French flag here, we could have a Spanish flag here, we could have a British flag here, pirate flag here, and this could have a Dutch flag actually. That would be a awesome solution in my opinion, at least for this sort of mods. And we have lots of other mods to actually figure out how to make them actually look different between each other, the icons. Some people actually suggested that it would be nice to have a text below the icons, like, you know, it would say here pirate rig revving. Like, the icon is pretty small. Admin said that there's probably not enough space to add text, especially if they're gonna make localizations for other languages like German. The words would be hell long, and they wouldn't fit probably in these places. Yeah, this is one of the things that I'm hoping is gonna change, like, you know, more icons, more differences between them, like even minor differences, like some flag in the background, and so on. What else? The port view, here it is. You can see now all of the ships, like, actually I think the navy, your navy, the, how's it called? Yeah, navy look. And it's pretty nice overall. How exactly we're supposed to do stuff here? Well, you can right click on something, click set as main, for example. You can just double click stuff. It's double clicking is sometimes laggy and glitchy, so I hope that's gonna get fixed. But well, double clicking works also, you don't need to always right click and click set as main. Here we go to the equip option, and basically you can click here on the guns and you should have a window with option to select them. Let me just move that to the warehouse. If I click Alt, and the guns, they will automatically be sent to the warehouse. Let me show you. They're right here in my warehouse. This is pretty cool. So now I just need to click here and I can automatically equip them. The game automatically detects what sort of gun class I need here. It's pretty cool design. What else? I don't like the card informations. I mean, it's all nice, you know, lots of information, numbers and so on, but this one is still pretty okay. But if I'm supposed to go and look like here, this sort of card information, it says lots of stuff, but the most important stuff is not highlighted or not bigger font. Like, the most important thing about the ships is frames and planking they're made out of. So somewhere in the middle of that text mishmash, you can see frame, white oak, planking, white oak. Okay, and the upgrade slots, you can determine that pretty much by the color. It's blue standard, as it says, but yeah, the old card information was looking much better. Maybe not looking better, but it was more practical. You could read everything much easier, and in my opinion it was working much better. Now at least we have the slots, 2930/30. It's pretty much tells you how many ships you have and how many you can have. I cannot expand anymore, but it's good to know if I can have one more ship or I can't. It was always confusing people. They were like not sure if they will get stuck or not. What else? Right click on your ship for more information. Okay, I know that. Manage outposts. You can press Z for that, for the docks. We can pretty much teleport to, for example, where to? I guess Rio Seco, because why not? you can see teleport costs now 10 doubloons fee. This fee is based on the rank of the player. So the first rank, it costs only 1 doubloon per teleport, and the max rank, which is the rear admiral or whatever nation you play for, cures and so on, it's 10 doubloons. Lots of players, literally tons of players on the forums argue that it's a not needed feature. It's gonna ruin the game, it's gonna be useless or annoying. It's like thousands of arguments against that, and it's being pushed as admin was stubborn that the game needs it. I don't see the reason why the game needs it, because if admin was trying to prove that 10 doubloons is not much, and that's probably true, but if it's not much, why do we have a sink here, a doubloon sink? That's really not eating our doubloons, not consuming them in big amounts. So let's say if I have 50,000 doubloons and I lose 10 per day, I'm not gonna notice any difference. So it's like a fake feature not needed really in a game. It's not gonna make any difference. So yeah, this is my opinion on that. I don't really understand why we have that. Players don't like that feature, even if it's not expensive or super crazy bad. The question is just why we need that. Okay, what else? We have the top bar here. You can see the reals, currency. As it said in the announcement, it was converted in the ratio 25 to 1. Craft level, labor hours and coins, all of that. Here's the leaderboard. Main leaderboard is the nations, Lord Protectors, as the the ports. Oh, here I am. And clan leaderboard is the new thing. It basically is broken at the moment. It's supposed to be fixed soon, but it's supposed to feature best clans in the nation. PvP kill death ratio, poor battles. Not sure what that one means. That one's confusing. Is it like how many poor battles the clan won, or how many it participated, or I have no clue, or how many it maybe defended? Defenses to count, maybe. I don't know how to say that. So this is a question: what's poor battles? Force control, pretty obvious. PvE kills, that one will be a source of making fun, like calling some clans carabiners, PvEers, and so on in a negative way, making fun of them, jokes. I don't think we need PvE kills leaderboard. It's not gonna show or prove anything if someone is good or not. Maybe to show what clans are more active in PvE, but for example, what's the difference between killing 10 cutters and 10 first rates? The difference is huge, but PvE kills leaderboard is not gonna illustrate that difference. It's gonna be 10 PvE kills for one and 10 PvE kills for the other. So I would rather see something like the epic event kills, or successfully finished epic events, something like this. Epic events are still PvE, but they're pretty hard part of the PvE, the hardest, to be honest. Total members, online members, these informations are obvious. I'm concerned a bit about the online members, as it can be used by spies. Do we really need that information on the leaderboard? I guess the point, I get the point, like it's trying to show which clans are online, or I mean active, or active in your actual time zone, but this is a very valuable information. Let's say I'm planning an attack on one of the enemy clans in the British nation. I use or ask a friend from a British nation, I use an alt, and I take a look. Online members, my opponent's clan has only 1 or 2 guys online, maybe even 0, and I figure out that's the perfect moment to strike. So this one is also controversial in my opinion, but that's just my opinion here. I'm gonna be stating lots of my personal opinions and views on that. Things that I not understand: the ranking here, hash and numbers. Basically, how is it calculated, all of that? Why Aloha is number 1, why PGP is number 2. It's not by PvP kills, because some of these clans have 0. It's not by kill death ratio, it's not by port battle, it's not by ports controlled PvE kills and so on. Maybe it's still just broken and not working properly, I guess so, because Ram Dinark's clan, DWS, is not listed on the clan leaderboard. And I consider that weird, because they have lots of PvP kills, they have a great kill death ratio, and they have active members. And instead we have clans like Haas, Eat, KBF and Xoxo, the inactive clans on the leaderboard, while the actually active clan is not present here. But I hope that's gonna get fixed and we actually have useful information, maybe not so valuable for the spies. But let's move on to the other stuff, because there's just so much stuff we need to discuss about the patch itself that I could probably spend like 10 hours talking, but I want to do it quickly and precisely. Upgrades chest, that's the same thing we had before, nothing changed here. We have the money chest as well, victory marks, doubloons. The change is now you cannot put doubloons into your chest at sea, so whenever you lose players you have to go to the port and from the port toss them into the money chest. So between battles and docking into the ports, your doubloons in your hold that you earned are not safe, so be aware of that. Victory marks, the devs mentioned several times, you're not sure what to do with them, so for now they're just used for permit, that's it. But maybe they will change the name, maybe they'll add a building for them, maybe some new options, we'll see, I guess. Trading manifests, whatever that thingy was, is still not here. Not sure if it's gonna be here. I guess we'll see that as well. Redeemables, gifts, rewards, all of that stuff. You can see flags, national flags. It's still not introduced into the game, but we've seen already the flags that will be added. We've seen lots of sneak peeks and stuff like that, so that's probably coming soon. Gifts, rewards, compensations. After logging back to the game, updating, you will probably find here some doubloons and stuff that was recompensated for the buildings, shipyards and so on. Moving farther, yeah, this is the flags. You can see just one option for now for every nation, and it looks pretty cool. I'm happy about that. I don't think I'm gonna buy it, but I'm really aware that lots of people are waiting for this DLC and they're gonna spend their cash to get the fancy flags. That's cool, that's good for the developers, and that's gonna introduce more diversity in the game. Paints and flags is something that does not affect the game heavily, especially it's nothing that will be considered pay to win, so I can live with that. What else? The perks. Yep, this is the obvious one. Nothing changed there. What else? We've discussed everything here at the top. I will show you Rio Seco because the free town was different. It shows you the capture, the clan that owns it, the tax, per battle timer, and what it produces. So I have hemp, we have stone blocks, nice. Here we go to the buildings and crafting section. So we can actually build buildings. There we have 3 levels of the buildings as before, for the normal resource buildings and for the shipyards. What has changed? Well, we've got lots of new buildings. Maybe not lots of, but we have Forge, we have Academy, Shipyard and Workshop. 4 specified buildings that, well, players might not understand at first. What's Workshop, Forge and Academy for? Well, basically Forge is for making guns, cannons, carronade and so on. Academy and Workshop are both for making upgrades. The bad thing about these buildings is that they do not have any description. It says how much you need to spend to build them, but it doesn't say what they are used for, so it created lots of frustration between players. Some of them created these buildings, built them, and they didn't need them, or They're expecting something else different. So it was a waste of reals and doubloons for them. So to be expected change tooltip information about every building, what it does. If you look at the stone mine or ham, it says exactly production per day, ham and levels and everything. So it's nice. The change about the buildings is that the devs tried to remove stacking of the buildings. The thing like having, for example, people having free hemp plantations. So the level 3 and the level 1 and 2 are normal, but level 3 has extremely high production. So you see it goes from 100 to 500 and then to 2000. It's much more than player can really extract normally during the day from the buildings. So I think that's a better option to actually deal with the amount of the buildings we have. So we don't actually need to spam same type of a building several times. But on the other hand, we get the Academy and Workshop, 2 separate buildings that could be just one. So I don't get really why we need that, and why we actually need the building for making upgrades. It was never discussed, but I can live with that because I have that. Well, I have the DLC for the buildings. Maybe it's supposed to encourage people to buy the DLC for the buildings, extra buildings. I don't know. It's not me to know what's in the devs' heads and what made them make this decision, because it wasn't anything requested by the players. Okay, a tip for everyone: Academy, Workshop. You guys want to know if you need the building or what sort of building you need to actually make stuff. Here in the buildings and crafting, you see all blueprints. You can just click on that. Let's say I want to craft Nassau borders, so I just type Nassau borders. There it is. Have the blueprint. I can click on it. It says how many reals I need, labor hours, and the building. I need Academy for it, and that's the answer for me. I mean, it's not perfect. It would be much better to have the actual building describing what it does, but this is at least one of the ways to figure out if you need it or what sort of building you need to make the upgrade you want. So here you go. This is one of the ways. What else? What else? So much stuff, but not sure what we should start with. Let's go by the icon. So we have we've seen all the outposts. The downside is we still cannot rearrange them. So let's say I would have the most important outposts at the very top. I would move ladder 2 here in the first place, but we cannot rearrange them. This is a small thing, nothing game breaking, but these small things actually they are the quality of life improvements, and I would love to see the option to just rearrange my outpost plot and grid. So you know, the most important ones at the very top, the least important and the least used at the very bottom. I hope that change is gonna come soon. We've got lots of new stuff here. The tab called Events and Missions. Missions. The old missions have been totally removed, and now we have the type of the mission like kill, hunt, search and destroy. 3 types. Rate of them, and or specific rate. Rating is the difficulty level. You find higher difficulty level of the missions in the free towns. The free towns are supposed to have 5 stars and 4. Then we got county capitals like Nevitas, for example, or Pittstown or Cap Français. And then we have all of the ports outside the safe zones. And then 2 other categories is the shallow ports and the safe zones. So the easiest missions are supposed to be in the safe zones. Shallow waters, of course, and shallow ports have shallow missions, and everything else higher difficulty. So from these missions we get chests, we get doubloons, and we just do what they exactly say. You can take a look at them. Oh, here's a max load class, target kill. This one kill mission will give you swords on the map. You would have to sail to that end. It will be like the old type of the mission, just specific. What's you know what's gonna be in it, and you need to use a specific class of the ship. On the other hand, the hunt does not force you to use any specific ship. You can just use anything you want, but it says you need to target 20 third rates or 10 fifth rates. And here's the great confusion coming, because the difference between hunt and search and destroy mission. Search and destroy targets a specific ship. So here's not 4th rate, he's Ingermanland. Let me see if I can find it. 9 Bellonas. I was trying to find a 3rd rate specific ship, because as you guys know, in Naval Action we have a 3rd rate, and we have as a class and as a ship itself. And if we have a mission, search and destroy, kill mission, sorry, hunt mission, search and destroy, both of them can mention 3rd rate, but in hunt missions, it's doesn't matter if it's a Bellona or 3rd rate or Wassa. But in search and destroy, it needs to be specifically a 3rd rate. So it's really annoying, because when I have these missions, several of them, I start thinking, do I need to kill 3rd rate, or I need to kill Bellona or Wassa, or what's the point of that? And then the next question comes, why do we have 3rd rates in the game? What's the point of them? I mean, I don't remember what was first, if a Bellona was 1st or 3rd rate, but these are the same model ship. Bellona has just more decorations, bigger guns, better statistics, and it's probably a bit more expensive in crafting terms, but it's still the same ship, the same model. So they've been probably introduced, the 2 of them, to bring more diversity into the game. So there are actually 2 3rd rates of the class. But is it good? Do we really need that? Now we have, for example, Wassa that's in the 3rd rate class. So the Bellona is not alone there. And for me, really for me, 3rd rate is just a useless placeholder in the game. The ship is not used by anyone, has no purpose, and it brings confusion, because you don't know if someone is speaking about the class of the ships itself or the actual ship. That's just my small discussion about that topic, little off topic from the patch, but that really frustrates me. Moving on further, Conquest, the host limitation, you can take them here. Economy is still grayed out, you don't have any economy missions yet. Operations, still grayed out, you don't have any. Events, these have been introduced yesterday on Monday. I mean, NASA patrol, yeah, the NASA rotation, every day have these different patrol on the map. It's been in the game already, but we've got new stuff like weekly light ships, weekly line ships, weekly frigates. It's a nice, cool idea, but it's not designed well. Let me go into the details. Weekly frigate. It says weekly challenge for 4th rates. So, frigate challenge, 4th rates. The only frigate that's a 4th rate, and it's a super frigate, is a Constitution, because Ingermanland, Agamemnon, Wappen from Hamburg, they are semi-ships of the line. They're absolutely not frigates. And then, if it's a weekly frigate event, why it does not allow 5th rates to participate in it? Other than that, these, not minor, these are actually the major details. It looks like a cool design. You have the leaderboard, it lists the players, the rewards that are supposed to receive, nation they are from, kills. There's a 10 kills limit, so there's like nothing like for example, a player that can go and kill like 200 players. He's gonna spend 5 days non-stop playing, just killing everything, and he's gonna be top 1. It actually gives equal chances for everyone, so that's a cool design, I believe. Battle rating. You're supposed to kill the highest battle rating by killing 10 players. So let's say if I kill 10 first rates, it's gonna be pretty much me winning the event, because there's nothing higher BR than first rates. Battles, kills. Actually, I didn't notice before battles. It probably says like how many battles it took you to get all of the kills, and the BR. Battle rating is basically how much battle rating in terms of ships you've sunk. Okay, and about this weekly challenges with the ship classes, there is one thing, one really thing that must be gone. These are not PvP focused events. If you kill AI, it's gonna count in the kills and BRs. So let's say I can sail around in a ship, I can kill AI first rates, and that's gonna be considered much higher BR reward term than a player killing a player. Let's say a frigate killing a frigate. That's a really no-go. This must be changed, or otherwise this event will really not mean anything. It will be just used for getting the rewards, and I think it's gonna get just abused by players, because I can't expect anything else from players, like not abusing the system and the mechanic to get maximum spoils and rewards and benefits from the game mechanic that's not working as it should. Maybe it's designed like that on purpose, but if the devs really designed it so AI kills also count, I really see no place for weekly events to be popular or to actually mean something other than the rewards they give you. And the journal itself is basically all of the missions you've taken, you've accepted, the battle missions. So yep, that's the journal. It says green it has a green tick when you actually complete a mission. The cool thing is I cannot leave a port without a ship. Right. Do I have any ships here? I do have a Nemeon. Okay, cool. So the cool thing is that you can access the journal. Game to load. Entering common world. Entering, and there's under the queue bind you have journal and events and missions. Sadly you cannot access events at sea. It's also a bit frustrating. I mentioned lots of little frustrating things that are not game breaking, but they really are these quality of life things, improvement that really would put a big smile on a player's face. Small things make players happy. What else? From the things I want to complain about, the compass. I'm not sure if people forgot about the compass already after weeks on the test server, because it's been reported by multiple players they don't like the compass, and I was also on board with that. I don't like this compass. It's pretty ugly. I mean, it's very simple. Admin said it's a placeholder and they're gonna bring a better compass into the game, and I haven't noticed any better. Nothing changed. Maybe they've forgotten, maybe people moved on and they accepted this one, maybe they started to like it. I don't know, personally I don't like this one. I would rather have more fancy looking one, but that's just me, I guess. The chats did not change at all. It's still the same chat windows. They're glitchy, buggy. Whenever you get a new private message from a player, it's not blinking. I mean, only the first message blinks, but after you conversate with the player, speak with him, the message when he sends a new one, it's not gonna be blinking. That's really annoying. These chat windows in battle and in open world, when you get disconnected, they tend to disappear or glitch. So these are the bugs with these windows. One of the things I would love to see is like the Discord overlay. Let me show you guys. So here is, I have to click show window in game like that, and I have the really awesome looking chat, and all I need to do is press the button. I can start writing like hello Martin. Here we go. The thing I don't like is about that I cannot scroll that interface. That's pretty much the only. Well, let me check if I can. I can scroll when I press the button, so it's nice. And I think this sort of a chat in the game would be much better than the one we have right now. But that's just my opinion. I'm gonna unpin it from the game, so it's not disturbing. What else? What else? So let's talk a bit about the map. So as I mentioned in ports, let me jump back into the port. In the top left corner you have the port name. It gives you all of the information, what it produces and so on. I would love to see that exactly the same on the map. So let's say I open the map, I look at Rio Seco. Yeah, it gives me some basic information, the port VR, timer, tax, but it doesn't say one of the most important things, what the port produces, what it consumes. And these informations you can find on the map created by Felix. It's called Netlify map, Naval Action. You can find on forums or just ask someone, they will link it. Everyone uses it. And again, the map is so awesome. On the map you just click on the port and it displays all of the information. It even displays more than you need, but I'll just leave with the basic information. Naval Action, just click the port, say what it produces, say what consumes, the very basic thing. Other thing that I was arguing a bit on the forums, I mean, the map is looking awesome, it's pretty nice map, but it's inaccurate. Well, this might be the realistic look of the Bermuda island or islands, but in the game it's not looking like that. You know, these shallow areas and so on, it's all solid land here. There's no huge bay like that or anything like this. You cannot sail through here, you cannot sail here either. So the map itself is inaccurate, and well, there have been ideas to have like fog of war and people exploring the map or correcting it, or I don't know, or people were justifying these mistakes that the maps were inaccurate in these times. Okay, maybe they were inaccurate, but over time they were corrected to be more accurate, to bring the exactly good information how stuff looks like. So if I've been to Bermuda, let's say 50 times, it gets me frustrated to look at this sort of Bermuda that's not how it looks in reality. But that's just me, and it's not just Bermuda topic. It's there's lots of places on the map, here, everywhere, like in many places where actually the map is just not accurate. Let's move on farther to the next topic. Ship auctions. Okay, looks nice. Not much I can say about that. The annoying thing is, if you have a ship name, I put my mouse above the ship name, it doesn't say anything. Where I need to put my mouse is I need to put it into the blue box with the number. It's not gonna be always blue, but the blue for the standard ships, and then I'll get the card information box. I would rather have it show me the ship information when I put the mouse over the ship's name, because that's the logical thing. That's how I spend my first 5 minutes trying to figure out how to check my ships on the test server. Okay, farther on. Oh, Martin answered. What else do we have? Warehouse, shop, ship store auctions. Okay. Fleet ships. Let me teleport to Port de Paix. I've got more ships over there, so I can show some more fancy stuff. Okay, Navy. Let's get into the gunboat. See, I'm clicking several times and it gets glitchy. Really gets glitchy. So there's our beautiful gunboat, little gunboat. Let me put something on the fleet, like a trace brick here, for example. Send to the fleet. And now, well, I can click the hold. It's gonna just open the main ship hold. I would love to have the option to actually open the fleet ship hold from here as well. We can still do that. We need to go right here and click the hold. The cool thing is that you can have several hold windows open at the same time. This is one of the cool things. And at sea it works as well, so you can move stuff between your fleet ships at sea. You can destroy your stuff at sea as well from fleet ships, which you couldn't before. These are improvements, better things that came to the game, and I greet them with a smile. Welcome into the game. What else about the stuff moving? Let's open the warehouse. So the annoying thing about the warehouse is whenever you move something, it refreshes everything. It will just keep refreshing, and it's just so annoying because you cannot do anything else when it's refreshing. I was discussing this with admin and it said it must be like that. You might introduce some timer that will like have a circle loading when you try to move something. I really don't like that, and I think it can be done normally because I know MMO games that do not have things like that and they're Unity based as well. Another thing, it's cool feature when you use Alt to move stuff between your ship hold and the warehouse, but the annoying thing is when I have a same item there, let's say move this, it's not gonna stack. It's gonna create a new stack of the item, a new pile. So this is one of the things I don't like. It's a small thing, but again, quality of life improvements. Another thing from the economy approach patch. Where is the store? Ship store. I want the port-a-pa shop. Let's go to upgrades, and let's, for example, look at the Guacata gunpowder. I want to sell it. I can only sell 2 at once, and if I sell 2 at once, the price drops to 1 real, which is extremely stupid. Someone please explain to me why it is like that. What's the sense behind it? Where's the common sense? Another thing, contracts. Right now, the contracts have been changed. It will tell you the minimum price, the minimum bid. Now, if you want to overbid someone, you need to place a contract 10% higher than the highest contract. It's a great feature, but there are 2 buts. First but, undercutting is still possible by 1 gold, so it just half-assed mechanic. It was done just 50% correctly. I would even say 30% correctly, because it's missing one more thing I was mentioning every time when we spoke about overbidding. So you can overbid someone. You require now to put 10% higher price. You can still undercut people by 1 gold, and placing contracts at the same price is not possible. The thing I like to call as price collusion. So let's say player A, player B want to buy contract for 40 gold, both of them, and the game allows them, and the resources that's sold for their contracts are split equally. So if there's 1,000 logs being sold, player A gets 500, player B gets 500. They're both happy. They don't have to be toxic, argue, fight for the contracts, overbid each other. exactly what price collusion is supposed to do. So this would be a really great change in naval action if it allowed to put same price contracts and split them equally between all of the people with that contract. But I think we're not gonna see that change any soon, sadly. And undercutting by 1 gold is still a thing. So let's say I place a copper plating for sale for 500k. There can be a player that's gonna put the contract to sell copper plating for 499,999 gold. So we just got rid of half the bidding problem. It's not fully solved. Whatever. I have to leave with that. Hopefully the devs will notice this. What else? Actually, from the perspective of the fleet redistribution in open world, this is a big change. The devs totally redistributed NPC roads, changed them, rearranged, and now we have, for example, ships of the line sailing around mostly around Hispaniola, around Cuba, I think. The capital areas are supposed to have just 5th rates, shallow waters across shallow ships, and so on. So it's like based on the regions, you get different ships, different sizes, and it's supposed to bring players to different areas to hunt for specific ships, for specific size, ship class, and so on. And it's still not working perfectly. The design and idea behind it is awesome, but implementation is bad. Basically, also one of the things important is that the pirate ports will spawn mostly pirate ships, pirate fleets. Prussian ports will spawn mostly Prussian fleets. So there's no more, or at least there's supposed to be no more PvEing in the green zone, the reinforcement zone of the pirate waters, for example, because there are mostly pirate fleets, with few exceptions. But instead what we see Prussian fleets going to Mortimer, going to Islet, Ocean Bight, French, Swedish fleets, and whatever other nations are around, Russian maybe. So what I see is pirate players or any other nation players taking missions, attacking huge NPC fleets right outside the capital. Just 100% safety, farming PvE. And fleet redistributions is not working as it should. I mean, even the common sense behind it. Where's the logic in a huge 10 ships of the line Prussian nation docking right into the Mortimer town? And why players in warships are not allowed to dock into the Mortimer town, the enemy players? I can still understand the traders, smugglers, and so on, but warships docking to enemy capitals, not even just ports, capitals. There's no common sense behind that, there's no logic. Moving on farther, what topics we need to cover? The doubloon costs, I guess. Let's check the Admiralty. Where is that gonna be? Buildings? No. Admiralty, there it is. The permits for the victory marks, as mentioned before, modules. Right now, they are not that expensive, I guess. Books, lots of names of the books, lots of new permanent mods added, lots of confusing stuff. It's supposed to be work in progress for the mods rebalance and stuff like that, but I really don't like devs messing with the mods and books. It's not bringing anything good, especially introducing like extra 20 new mods, 20 new permanent modules. Some of them are cool and I like it, but there's just lots of these stuff that are like repeating with the others, and you can stack them, you can there's no difference between them, for example. So I'm questioning this decision to bring more upgrades into the game. Exchange the labor contract. One costs 400 reals. Doubloons. It is very expensive because before you would get 10 labor contracts for like 400 combat marks, which was decent, and now it's very expensive. Blueprints pretty expensive. PvP rewards crazy high. Let's see, Constitution 7,500, Wasa 7,500, Bellona almost 10,000, Navy Lootsman 9,000. The prices are really high, and the thing is that with the doubloons, the devs are still tweaking that, changing. There have been already 3 hotfixes. They're supposed to fix stuff. Players have been reported they could find 2,000 doubloons in a trader, AI trader. But let's say killing a player, I've personally killed Pirate Indiaman, Pirate Hercules, they dropped 0 doubloons. So it seems to be, as far as we know, full RNG mechanic. Is it good? Some players like RNG. I don't find anything exciting in RNG. I mean, I'll be happy if I find 2,000 doubloons in a hold. Yeah, that makes me happy, but the PvP is not paying for itself. It's really not keeping the healthy ratio of the risk and reward. PvP is high risk, high adrenaline, dangerous activity, unless you're like ganking or something, but overall it's much more dangerous and harder than PvE. And then you have the PvE 100% safe, capturing AI trader gives you suddenly 2,000 doubloons, boom. And it turns out that capturing traders takes 1-3 minutes maybe, is much more efficient than doing PvP, which is sad, really sad. And the rewards are not really consistent. By that I mean you can get like 15 ships in a row looted with no doubloons, and then this one gives you suddenly 2,000, so it's extremes between nothing or everything. 2 extremes. Some of the ships of course drop 100, 200, 300 doubloons, they do, but really about that, it needs to be more balanced. There needs to be more something in between the 2 extremes, 500, 600, 700 doubloons, so on. The rewards should be more consistent and in more holds, because if I kill 2-3 players, I spend 3 hours doing PvP and I get almost nothing, and there's this guy just capturing AI traders and he gets 10,000 doubloons. How is it fair? Where's the equality in that? Where's the risk and rewards ratio kept here? Where's the logic here? Yeah, these are the questions coming to my head. What else? I guess I almost covered most of the changes in the patch 27, but there's still a few things. First thing, the resource redistribution, spawning and so on, it's been totally changed. People are asking questions, not sure how to understand that. Admin is trying to explain this with lots of metaphors. Hard to understand how it works, but basically the problem here, or at least how it looks like, is that, let's say a player is waiting in Pirate Cave of a resource, whatever it spawns, let's say take a save machinery, if I remember correctly, and the player is waiting 6 days and the resource is not spawning. So admin is using a metaphor that like there is one delivery every now and then into the port. It's not happening like every few hours, but when it comes, it's supposed to be big, lots of tons of the resource, so it's should be enough for several players at least. I don't know why it's like that, what is supposed to change. I'm not going to go in details into that topic because I'm not a big trader and I have no clue how it can affect the game. The other economy stuff, well, we can move on to the actually good changes. buildings, shipyard craft. So we got the ships here. Ship, and well, you can see oak, fir, hemp, iron, lignum, stone block, coal, provisions. That's all. Before we had like 30 different resources. Now it's very simple, clever, I could say perfect. Much more simple, and sometimes simple means better. So this so-called streamlined economy shipbuilding, I give a big positive review for that. Overall, well, there's tons of stuff to fix in that patch. Tons of exploits, bugs. People can capture first rates. People can capture premium ships like yachts, like Hercules, like Requins, Bellonas, anything, Wassas, anything they want. It's not supposed to be that way, but they can do that. People are exploiting the missions. They're doing these missions in the capital zones. They're even grouping together, and let's say someone takes a mission with a max allowed class second rate, and they're asking friends to come in first rates, and they can join as a group. So only the max rank applies to the owner of the mission. And there's tons of other bugs, exploits, and bad things about the current patch 27. But if I wanted to cover all of them, I'll have to spend hours, just hours, sitting here with a written down list of all of them. I'll have to burn like 6 pages of paper, and I'm simply not gonna do that. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this half ranting, half reviewing, half describing video about patch 27, let me know in comments if you like it or not, what's your opinion, and thanks for watching, see you later.